Let me sit here with you for a moment, because what I am about to say is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to put a hand on your shoulder in a world that has started to move far too fast. There is a new danger growing quietly in 2026, one that too many honest people are meeting alone. I do not want you to face it alone. I want you to hear this the way you would hear a trusted friend speaking across your kitchen table. With warmth, with patience, with the simple truth that your safety matters more than any technology, any scammer, or any fear that has ever tried to make you doubt yourself. Let me begin with a story, a real one, a story that has been sitting heavy on my chest for months. A man named Peter, 78 years old, a retired printing shop worker, a grandfather who still keeps his granddaughter's school pictures tucked into the corner of his hallway mirror, picked up his phone one Wednesday morning. The sky was gray, his tea was still warm. He told me he was relaxed, unguarded, not expecting anything unusual. Then he heard her voice, his granddaughter, crying, breathless, shaking, saying she needed him, saying she was in trouble, saying everything with that unmistakable tone he had heard 1,000 times in happier moments. He froze. He said to me later, I could hear her swallowing. I could hear her breathing. I could hear her fear. But it was not her. This is where confusion becomes a weapon. This is where technology stops being a tool and starts becoming a predator. The voice was artificial, generated by a machine that needed only a few seconds of her real voice to fool him completely. A machine that did not know her, did not love her, but knew exactly how to imitate the sound of love. Peter did what any grandfather with a full heart would do. He followed the instructions, he transferred the money. And when he called her afterward, the real her, she asked why he sounded so frightened. She had been in class all morning. And the fear I saw in Peter's eyes when he told me what happened was not just fear of losing money. It was fear that the world had shifted beneath his feet without anyone giving him a chance to catch up. This is why I am speaking to you now. Because what happened to him is happening everywhere in 2026. And I do not want you to carry that weight. Let me tell you the truth. These scams are not exploding because older adults are careless. They are exploding because new tools have made it easy for criminals to steal not just information, but identity. Not just words, but the emotional presence of the people you love. Artificial intelligence can now mimic a voice after hearing only a few seconds of audio from a birthday video, a voicemail, or a social media clip your family posted years ago. Deepfake video can now generate the face of a loved one in distress, blinking, speaking, moving with uncanny realism. Scammers can disguise their phone numbers so that your caller ID shows the name of your bank, your doctor, your pharmacy, or even your own child. You are not fighting against a person anymore. You are fighting against a system built to imitate trust itself. And let me tell you about Sophie, 81, soft-spoken, loves knitting blankets for the church nursery. One evening she received a video call. It showed her son, his face, his expressions, his lips moving, and his voice begged her to send money to get him out of trouble. The fear that washed over her was so heavy she almost collapsed. She told me she felt like her heart had been thrown into ice water. She did everything the caller said. Every step, every instruction. And when her real son walked through her door later that evening, safe and unaware, she burst into tears. She had not just lost money that day, she had lost the sense that her instincts could protect her. That is what makes this scam so dangerous. Not the technology, not the criminals, but the emotional realism. You do not hear a stranger, you hear someone you love. You do not see a threat, you see a face you trust. And in that split second, your heart answers before your mind can analyze. Let me tell you what they do not explain. Scammers do not attack your bank account first. They attack your nervous system. They use panic to shorten your thinking. They use urgency to shut down your ability to question. They rely on your compassion, your loyalty, your instinct to protect the people who matter to you. And when you act out of love, they twist that love against you. But let me also tell you something the scammers pray you never realize. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to question. You are allowed to slow everything down, even when the voice sounds desperate or the message feels urgent. That pause is your legal shield. That pause is your emotional protection. That pause can save your entire retirement. Now let me broaden this picture, because voice clones are only one part of the new scam wave in 2026. There is another layer. Fake bank employees who sound polished, kind, patient, and entirely believable. They call you from a number that looks identical to your bank. They speak gently, the way real customer service used to sound. They use terms like security verification and fraud protection. They walk you step by step through a process that feels official. And yet every step is designed to make you unknowingly hand over access to your own funds. I met a widower named Karel, 74, who received such a call. The man on the line spoke Dutch with the same regional accent Karel had grown up with. Calm, helpful, not threatening, not pushy. He said he had spotted unusual activity. He said he needed to secure the account. He said he wanted to protect him. Karel followed every instruction. And when the money vanished, the bank told him the heartbreaking truth. They would never ask him to move money to a safe account. They would never instruct him to verify anything through a link. They would never contact him in that way. He acted in good faith, he acted with trust, and he had been deceived. Let me tell you plainly, none of this is your fault. You were raised in a world where voices were real, where faces were real, where the bank was the bank and trust was something you could feel in your chest. Technology changed faster than society did, faster than laws did, faster than warnings could reach the people who deserved clarity the most. The system failed you, you did not fail the system. But I want you to have not just comfort, but power. The law does provide protection. Fraud is fraud even when it is digital. Identity theft statutes apply, consumer protection rules apply, banks must assist when accounts are compromised. Law enforcement must investigate. You are allowed to report, you are allowed to ask for help, and you are allowed to do so without shame, without guilt, without believing that you should have known better. Let me give you something clear and strong, something you can rely on. You can recognize these scams in 10 seconds by remembering one simple truth. Real institutions do not rush you. Scammers always rush. Real family members do not demand secrecy. Scammers insist on secrecy. Real emergencies allow time for verification. Fake emergencies punish you for verifying. If a call or message threatens you for wanting to double-check, it is a scam, every time. Now let me speak gently to those who may already have been drawn into one of these situations. If you sent money, if you shared information, if you clicked a link and felt your stomach drop seconds later, breathe. You are not alone, you are not foolish, you are human, and your humanity was used against you. That is not a crime on your part, that is a crime on theirs. Here is what fear does not explain. The moment you realize something is wrong, the law steps in beside you. Call your bank immediately. They can freeze accounts, reverse transfers, and monitor unusual activity. Contact local authorities. Fraud reports matter more than you think. Reach out to someone you trust. Shame grows in silence, but protection grows in conversation. You are allowed to reclaim control. You are allowed to rebuild your sense of safety. You are allowed to restore your peace. I have sat with countless seniors who carry these stories like invisible bruises. They whisper them. They blame themselves. They feel embarrassed, as if being compassionate were a defect. It is not. Your compassion is your strength. Your kindness is not a weakness. But you deserve to learn how to protect that kindness in a world that now imitates trust. Let me take you a little deeper into the emotional weight of these scams, because you deserve someone who understands the human cost. Many seniors describe the same moment, the moment where something felt off, a hesitation, a tiny instinct whispering that something was wrong, but they pushed that feeling aside because the voice sounded real, or because the caller said time was running out, or because they were afraid of looking rude or suspicious. Let me tell you the truth. You are allowed to follow that instinct. You are allowed to be cautious. You are allowed to say no. You do not owe anyone immediate access to your life simply because they arrived through a device you never asked to be complicated. The most powerful thing you can do moving forward is claim your right to pause. That pause is not doubt, it is wisdom. That pause is not resistance, it is protection. That pause is not disrespect, it is self-respect. If someone calls you unexpectedly and claims to be your bank, you hang up and call the number printed on your card. If someone claims to be a grandchild, you call them back on the number you already know. If someone claims to be the police, you verify with the local station. Real institutions do not collapse when you check. Fake ones do. And if you ever find yourself caught between fear and uncertainty, remember this. The law was built to protect you, even when no one tells you that. You do not have to navigate this alone. Let me close with something I need you to feel, not just hear. You are not falling behind. You are living through a technological shift so large that entire governments are struggling to regulate it. If your instinct has ever wavered, if your trust has ever been shaken, if you have ever felt overwhelmed by the pace of this new digital life, that does not make you vulnerable. It makes you human. You still have wisdom, you still have rights, you still have choices, and you still have the power to protect your own peace. If this helped you, share it with someone you love, someone who may hear a familiar voice tomorrow and wonder whether to believe it. Your courage might be the shield they need. And if you have walked through something like this, tell your story. Someone else may find their strength in your words. Stay with me. This part matters more than you think. You are not alone. Not now, not ever.